I will go on the beach and I will try to educate as I go along. So the whole thing about racism, that piece was so popular that things would just happen. Once I did that piece, I mean, overnight it changed. If you hit people in their heart, their wallet will pop the out of their pocket. I mean, I'm talking like literally immediately. People start giving me fives, tens, 20s. People gave me watches. I got 11 watches that year. People gave me gold chains. People give me and you ever heard of Wolfgang Puck?
Of course.
Okay, so Wolfgang Puck had a big restaurant back then called Spago's. He has a Spago somewhere else still. I think there's another one in Beverly Hills. But the coldest restaurant anyway was Spago's on Sunset Boulevard because that's where they always hold the Oscar party. And so it was known for its wonderful food, its service, how excellent it was. So one day I'm doing my show and this white lady come to my show with these two little white girls. And when it was over, she gave me her card and she said, I own this restaurant. And I would like to treat you and your wife to dinner. So I took the card and it said Spago's. I'm like, this don't own Spago. Wolfgang Puck owns Spago's. Her name was some crazy shit. Her name is Barbara Lazaroff, right? So I called immediately. As soon as I got off the beach, I called Spago's. I said, look, this lady named Barbara claims she owned a restaurant. She said that's Wolfgang's wife. She owns the restaurant. I said, what? All right, I'm going, right? So I went and took my wife, my then wife, who's a wonderful, fabulous Brooks.
All right, I'm going.
Brooks Jackson. Yeah, I said, I'm going. I'm going to go see what's up. When I say they pampered us, they would not let us finish a meal. We had like 4 meals. So we'd have a meal and we got halfway through, they snatched the plates and bring 2 other meals.
Yeah.
Then they snatched the plates and bring 2 other meals. Then we got full, they brought a platter about the size of this table of every damn dessert they had and left it on the table for us. We could have whatever we want. Not only that, every week, every year on the beach, a month before Christmas, I would do one of my shows out there and I would call it Scrooge Lives. So instead of people bringing me money that day, I asked them to bring me frozen turkeys, chickens, and hams, and canned foods. Thank you. Thank you. And bring canned foods, and we're going to feed as many homeless people as we can. In fact, I called it Scrooge Lives. Scrooge stands for Society's Christmas Rush for oodles and oodles of goodies, etc. And Wolfgang Puck would take a thing this big and fill it with homemade cookies and bring it out there for that function. I would get a Christmas tree and put it out there, and for that whole day, people would bring turkeys and hams and food, and then we would pay a guy to take a van and take it to a homeless shelter, you know, and they created the cookies every year for about 6 years. They would give us the cookies. So when I talked to Barbara about it, I said, Barbara, why was you doing this? She said, because of the lesson you taught about racism, and my 2 little nieces were there, and they learned from that lesson, you know? So then I had to go in deeper, and I started talking about sex because this was 86, and this is the year of AIDS. And 86 is the first year they gave AIDS a name. Before that, they were just calling it a gay white man's disease. But then they put the word AIDS to it, and we were fighting tooth and nail to save people from dying from AIDS because I'm an artist, and the artists got it worse than anybody. Actors, dancers, them motherfuckers was dying left and right. Our friends were dropping. It was crazy. So I did a whole piece on safe sex because you couldn't really talk about sex. On TV or radio, you couldn't buy a commercial for condoms. They thought it was dirty. In 86, the condoms are dirty, so we won't run an ad for condoms, and all you needed to save your life was a condom. So I would joke about condoms. I had a 6-pack, an 8-pack, and a 12-pack. Now, the 6-pack, that's for your Hispanic brother. That's for making love Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but off on Sunday. 8-pack, that's for your black brothers. That's for making love Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and twice on Sunday. And, of course, the 12-pack, that's for the white guys. That's January, February, March, you know. And so people would then laugh. And when you make people laugh, then their guards are down. When their guards are down, you can slip education in. I remember one of the shows, a lesbian came to me at the end of the show, and she said, you know, my lesbian lover died 6 months ago of AIDS. And I never thought that I would laugh again. And you have me laughing and crying tears of joy from your piece about safe sex, because I would break it down to how you could get AIDS and not even be gay, because a gay person could make love to a straight person, and that straight person could then make love to you, and you think you were with a straight person, but the gay person who made love to that person didn't tell them that they were gay. You understand? So like a man can make love to a woman who has AIDS, but she didn't say shit about it. But he's a straight guy, so he wasn't even checking her for it. So then he gets AIDS. He don't understand it. He ain't used no needles, but he was with a woman who had it without protection. But he turned around and gave it to another straight woman because he didn't know that this girl. So I would show them the chain of how it could happen to you.